Hi, I'm Mederic from Playmind with the game The Inner Friend, and we're here at PAX East, best show in town. So The Inner Friend is a narrative game about diving into childhood fears and nightmares to retrieve a lost part of yourself. And it has mostly puzzle mechanics and psychological horror aspects to it as well. Very special kind of game. Hard to pinpoint on a specific genre, but I would say that it's a mix of an adventure game with narrative, psychological horror elements, and most of the gameplay mechanics are puzzle mechanics, but they are always different from one level to the other. But we could say that it's a puzzle game. Players in The Inner Friend are brought into this universe to retrieve a lost part of themselves, and it's based on the concept of the inner child, so this kid entity that we all have within. In this case, it's been abandoned for such a long time that it's created this whole crazy universe around himself. And you're here to face all of those fears and nightmares to retrieve the kid, which is a very important part of yourself. We built this game so anybody could play it. It's a game where interpretation is key, since it's a narrative game without any kind of dialogue. So you make what you can out of it, what you understand yourself out of it. And we built it so anybody could play it. It's a short game, so you don't need 60 hours of free time to play it or grind or anything. It's, like I say, it's the perfect game to replace a movie night. The Inner Friend takes a lot of inspiration, like I said, from the 80s, but the whole idea of the inner child concept came from our artistic director and our narrative writer, who shared this concept of trying to stay a kid in a society that pushes you to be serious, you know, get a job and forget about playing time. It's all about responsibilities and forgetting about, you know, free time. Free time needs to be taken into account to, you know, grow some skills or, you know, do some important things. But we found that it's very important to stay connected to that kid within. And that was the inspiration for the game, basically. When you have a junior team that come from different backgrounds like that, you have inspirations from so many different games, you know. It's a game without dialogues or text, a lot of interpretation. Limbo and Inside did that amazingly. Journey was a big inspiration as well. The visual style of many games, I mean, this game has a very specific and unique visual style, but we take stuff, the studio has a very weird background. We did a lot of scenography, mapping, projections, location-based entertainment. So it takes from movies, from art, from visual artists, it's a very big mix of different things. We even have some inspirations from if you guys know Stanley Kubrick pretty well, you recognize some pieces of the game. They're almost exact replicas of some of the scenes from his movies. So my personal background, I came into the team a little late into the production. I was here to promote the game at first. But like in any indie studio, you end up wearing many hats, you know. So I started out as purely marketing. I ended up doing some biz dev, some pitches, participated in narrative design and level design. But my background as a job has nothing to do with games. You know, it's my completely first job in the games industry, but I've been a gamer all my life. I mean, aren't we all at that point? I grew up playing, I think the first game that I fell in love with was Super Mario 64. Of course I played the older versions, but I don't know, there was something about Mario 64 that was just pulling me in all the time. I got super scared of that game. I remember trying to go play the underwater level with the boat, and I would freak out. But I would still come back to it. I grew up playing a lot of D2. Diablo 2 took many hours. You know, the kind of game that when the parents come down and they're like, you know, it's time to eat, you're like, eating? Who needs that? But I play so many different games, but I'm the kind of the eternal noob, you know? When I play games with friends, it's always the same story. I have a lot of fun, but always the bad one. But I have fun, still. I'm here for fun, not to be the best. I played a lot of WoW. For me, it was one of the most complete experiences and the strongest community I've ever seen in a game. A lot of fun. I'm gonna get hate for that, but Battle Royales for me were a really fun thing. It was a great experience to just play with friends and have those fucking so stressful moments. I love that. Diablo 2, for me, one of the greatest. Played so many hours. I'm gonna sound a little cliche, but Skyrim was for me like an amazing experience. I think I created over 35 characters, replaying the whole story again and again. Witcher 3 has been the same. The lore of these games is just amazing, you know, so incredible, the writing and everything. Like I said, Inside and Limbo and all those games from Playdead were a big inspiration. All the Zelda games, you know, we've grown up with those games and they were just masterpieces. Seriously, we have a ton of great games that come from Canada. We feel very lucky to be in the industry in Montreal. It's one of the top cities in the world for game creation. So many great games came out of there. All the Batman series, all the Assassin's Creed series. I remember the first time I touched Assassin's Creed and I was like, how is this possible? You know, it was such an amazing experience. I mean, I just love games with extensive environments and extensive stories and lore. But I have to say that I still super enjoyed like the stupid games like Broforce or Genital Jousting and stuff like that, where people just stop taking themselves seriously and just have some fun with what they're doing. So, I mean, a real top 10, impossible to do, but I think these games were a big inspiration for us here. We went from anything to 10 to 15 people actually, working on the game. Mostly artists. Funny story, the project started out a little more than 4 years ago and it was built for Kinect on Unity. And we ended up realizing it was a very bad idea. And we switched and restarted everything from scratch on Unreal. And that was a little more than 2 years ago. And we released the PC version of the game in September, and we're right now working on the console port for Xbox and PlayStation. So we would say it's a total of almost 5 years now. The game has been mostly built in Unreal Engine. It's some, you know, Unreal is mostly in C++, but this game has been a mix of C++ and blueprints. We have some different backgrounds that worked on the game, but it's mostly C++. You know the classics, the biggest time waster, Slack is always used. You know, we need to communicate. When you have a team like that, it's very important, communication. Google Drive, of course, for GDDs and stuff like that. We worked with Wise. We started working at the beginning with Popcorn FX that we ditched because it was way too heavy for the game. We worked with, actually all the sound design was made by another team in Montreal that's called Pixel Audio that did some amazing work on sound design and soundtrack. What else? Trello, 3ds Max, Maya, a little bit of both actually. GitHub, we went from GitHub to Perforce. We did a lot of trial and error in this game. It's been a big learning process for sure. When you think about it, after going through Unity, Kinect, transferring everything on Unreal, restarting from scratch, working with different people that came in, came out, the team itself stayed almost the same for a while, but a lot of people came in and out. It's been complicated. It's been a really complicated process. It was the first game of the studio for consoles and PC. It was a big mess, but we're actually really happy about how it came out, because if we look at the whole production process, we really have a great product after all. Did we learn anything? Yeah, we learned a lot of things. What to do, what not to do. We self-published this game. It was a mess, a complete mess. It's been a lot of fun though, because we all learned so much from this game. Production-wise, animation-wise, artist-wise, the whole game has been a learning process. Well, I mean, the Inner Friend is pretty unique in its way and its style, because it's a mix of many things and it's not one specific genre. It has a pretty unique visual style. It takes a lot of inspirations from the 80s, so you have some Kubrick inspirations, you have some Poltergeist inspirations, even the soundtrack itself, the logo is Stranger Things inspired. And the story is very unique, you know, finding a lost piece of yourself while traveling into your own subconscious mind, and without any text or dialogues. It's a very special kind of game. I wouldn't say that the Inner Friend is trying to make a statement. The game is mostly, if there's one statement, is that it's important to stay connected to that childlike part of yourself, you know, that part of yourself that sees beauty in everything, that is very playful, that has a crazy imagination. Even if society tells us that we have to, you know, grow up and push that part of ourselves aside, we think it's very important to stay connected to it, but since we're all gamers, usually it's not too hard. The game contains, I wouldn't say Easter eggs, but the game contains a lot of, some are very clear, some others are more hidden, but a lot of references to the 80s pop culture. And there is, yes indeed, something to unlock after finding all the collectibles in the game and completing it 100%. You can actually unlock interesting backstory cutscenes to understand a little bit better what's happening in the game. So for us, it's not the first time at PAX. We were actually at PAX East last year. It was our very first PAX for the team. So second year at PAX East. We did PAX West and we did PAX South as well. We love shows. I mean, it's so great to meet the gamers. It's so fun to have some actual feedback about the game and see the players play it and see them react, because we have some scary parts in the game, and just seeing them shout as loud as they can while trying to escape the scary characters is just amazing. So people can go on our website, www.theinnerfriend.com. You can go on the Steam page, and they can go on YouTube, man. I mean, when a game comes out, you can find the whole game on YouTube. If you just want to see what it's all about and have a little hint, you can find plenty of videos on there. So thanks for watching. Of course, we want to thank the Indie Mega Booth. Always a great experience. Thank you, PAX, as well. An amazing show. And if you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Discord. You can find the Discord on our website. And come talk to us. We always love to talk to people, and we're super open. I mean, we're from Montreal, Canada. You know how we are. Super polite. We'll say sorry for everything, and we'll be super glad to talk to you guys. So reach out to us. Thank you. So we're here for the Inner Friend. My name is Mederic. This is Dylan, Eliane, and Clément, and we're here at PAX East in Boston. Yeah!